Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 4 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. You can see the look on my face. I've restarted this video 5 times already, and I can't do another Donald Trump rally video again. I'm sorry, man. You know, that's what this video is about. As I looked through the stories this morning, I realized there was another Trump rally in Youngstown, Ohio, all right? So I started looking through to see what ridiculous claims he made, the dishonest, fact check, real, like I've told you guys, I'm not going to sit here and spout lies. I'm not going to do that to myself or to anybody else, and so I'm going to fact check. And like 80% of the stuff that was said at this Trump rally is wrong, is exaggerated and dishonest, and as I'm looking at this, I look at these clips and I can't tell the clip from last night. I can't tell it apart from the last dozen Trump rallies. It's the same exact people wearing the same exact things. Donald Trump saying the same exact dishonest statements. The same exact. Do I really need to say it? The Blacks for Trump guy. The same exact Blacks for Trump guy with his T-shirt, same color T-shirt, sitting in the same place. And after a while, what's this? A dozen Trump rallies now. And it's just dishonest scare tactics and fear-mongering. And as I watched the clips this morning, I'm like, nothing I say, nothing Beau the Fifth Column says, nothing anybody on this earth says is going to change these people that are in this cult. I'm sorry, man. You can tell. I'm usually a glass half full guy, but as I watched this Trump rally, the clips from this, they'll all be down below. As I watched these clips this morning, it's just the same thing. Same people believing the same nonsense. And you just get to a point where, these people are lost. They're lost. I don't know what to do. They're believing all this. I mean, Trump brought out all the same dishonest stuff. Let me talk about a few of them. Where do I start? The strategic oil reserves. All right. I looked this up this morning. Trump released the strategic oil reserves at least twice. Once after a hurricane and once when there was trouble in the Mideast. All right. Yesterday, so now gas prices are going down. I paid $3.29 yesterday, Saturday. I filled up my tank. Granted, I live in a small state, so I don't drive a lot of miles, and my car gets extremely good gas mileage, but I probably use $60 worth of gas this month, driving all over the state. And it's $3.29 a gallon now here. And now Trump's complaining about, well, it hasn't gone down fast enough. It hasn't gone down to what it was a year ago or 2 years ago. I remember back when I was using it, it was before 2006. I remember gas prices were almost up to $5, and Bush was president. This happens. This stuff happens, and the prices go up, the prices go down. So anyway, Trump starts talking about the strategic oil reserves. Here's another interesting dishonest statement. I'll have the links down below for this. Trump claims that he alone filled up the strategic oil reserves because they were bone dry before he came into office. These have been fact checked, and that's completely dishonest. The links will be right down below, and it's not just far left sites that say it's dishonest. It's a lie. Okay, so he lays into Biden in this last night at this rally. The strategic oil reserves are for military purposes, for military emergencies. Interesting fact. Interesting he says that. Because he released the strategic oil reserves at least twice. And not for military purposes. And you sit there and you watch him spout off these lies in front of all these people, and they're all cheering and all hating on Brandon or let's go Brandon and all this other stuff. And it gets to a point where I'm just like, these people are lost. Yeah, so he released, Trump himself, links are down below. He released the strategic oil reserves in 2017 after Hurricane Harvey, and he released the strategic oil reserves in 2019 after the incident in the Middle East. I think it was when he had the leader assassinated there. Anyway, then he goes on to say that there's millions and millions of immigrants. I'm not going to call them illegal. There's millions and millions of immigrants from all over the country, invading our country. Like I said, again, with this replacement nonsense. And they're all committing these heinous acts. Here's another interesting fact. As I was going through the news this morning, I noticed that whenever I see a news story about a illegal immigrant and a heinous crime, it's on Fox News. So I started thinking about this. If you watch Fox News, you're thinking that, you know, all these heinous crimes, it's because of immigrants, right? So you can try this yourself. I Googled young person. Actually, it was girl, but young. And then I typed in 3 of the most heinous of crimes, you know, to look for incidents across the country. And there was at least a dozen. There wasn't, in the first dozen, there wasn't anything listing just lately in this country. There's a guy from South Carolina, a good old boy, a guy from Florida that used a power drill. And these guys all look like Trump supporters themselves. I know that's wrong to say that they look like Trump supporters. And most of these incidents are happening in Trump voting states. You know, so do that. Check it out. You know, I noticed that on Fox News, whenever you see a story about an immigrant person committing a heinous act, it's on Fox News. And, you know, if you look, these things are going on dozens of times, hundreds of times all across the country. And you don't see anything about it, but committed by Americans in Trump voting states, not just Trump voting states, but all across the country. And it's dishonest to portray it this way. One of the most ridiculous things, I had a hard time even understanding what he was talking about. Mike Lindell, of course. Yep, he was there last night. And I'm going to try to get this straight. So he says that he's a marketer. Okay, he's got a marketing mind. So he says it would have been smarter back in the 2020 elections, because he said Reverend Warnock and another MAGA politician lost. Two MAGA politicians lost, I think, in the Senate. And Mike Lindell says it would have been smarter if Democrats gave back one of these, if they didn't steal both these elections, that if they gave one of these back, because then Trump supporters would say, well, that's possible. We lost one, but we couldn't have lost two. So he thinks that was stupid of them. They should have just stolen one and gave the other election back to the rightful winners. So in other words, when any MAGA politician loses, it's stolen. That's exactly what he's saying here. That Democrats should have given one of the stolen elections back, so it would have looked more realistic, because he's a marketer. Oh man, like I said, it just gets to a point. What else did Trump talk about? He talks about the incident on January 6th. And he talks about how these people are going to jail. These good, honest people that were just taking a sightseeing tour, are going to jail for 5 or 10 years. And here's the claim he makes. That if you say something bad about Trump, you get off. And if you don't, you get 5 or 10 years. And everybody, boo, and they all believe this. I think he's referring to the people. There's a lot of people. There's some people that were arrested for January 6th, and they realized they were duped. They flat out, they see him crying. They thought Donald Trump was going to come save them and bail them out of jail, and they were going to be patriots, just like 1776, and taking back our house and all that stuff. And now they're going to jail, and Donald Trump's just leaving them. They're left to rot. They were used to try to convince people of this lie. And Trump is basically saying that those people that are disheartened by him, well, they're being blackmailed to say that nobody could honestly think badly of Donald Trump. They have to be made, what's it called? Not blackmail, coercion. They have to be made to say this, so that way they get out of going to jail, because nobody in their right mind would say anything bad about Donald Trump. And then he's there for J.D. Vance, and he's there to back up J.D. Vance, and he says how J.D. Vance kisses his ass these days. You know, I almost, it gets to a point where I almost feel sorry for some of these MAGA types that just kiss so much Trump butt. You know, they take this abuse. You know, Trump is supposedly there to get him elected. And the guy that's there for you actually is talking about you kissing his ass. And you know, they're happy. Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you so much. You know, I almost gets to a point where I feel sorry for him. You know, I'm sorry, guys. You know, this isn't the usual video, but it just gets to a point after a dozen of these Trump rallies. It's the same old thing, the same old lies, the same old nonsense. You see them, you know, they're all cheering, "Save America! We're gonna fight like heck to get our country back, and it's turning into a third world. We're being prosecuted by the lunatics." You know, and then, you know, Trump says about how, you know, MAGA is being singled out. You know, they're saying bad things about MAGA and MAGA people. And then he goes on to call the left lunatics and crazies and all this other stuff. Oh, man, just the hypocrisy and the dishonesty, it just got to me this morning. You know, it gets to a point where these people are lost. You know, I'm not a cult specialist. I don't know how to pull them out of this. Not an occult specialist, but I'm not a cult specialist. You know, these people their minds are lost to Donald Trump. Why? I don't know. I don't get it. I hear him talking. I just hear an idiot babbling. That's all I hear. And I hear an arrogant, narcissistic, third grade education idiot talking. I don't know what they see in this guy. All right, the clips are down below. It is what it is. Have a good Sunday.